Judith Blacklock and I've got a flower school in London. I've written 11 best-selling books. I'm the editor of a wonderful magazine called The Flower Ranger. I believe I can teach anyone. All you need is a love, a passion for flowers, and I can teach you the rest. This is a design for a funeral. This is for the top of the coffin, and it is going to be a long, low design. So what I've done is to soak a piece of foam, a piece of oasis, and placed it in the centre of a shallow green plastic tray. And to make sure that it is secure and not going to collapse at a very opportune time, I'm going to take a piece of plastic tape and wrap it very firmly round the foam and the tray. And for extra security, you could actually do one the other way as well. I'm then going to create an outline of eucalyptus, the fragrant eucalyptus, and I establish the height. You don't want to go very tall with this, because if it's going to go into a hearse on a coffin, you've got to make sure that it doesn't rise too high and that it would bump the top of the hearse. So with this lovely eucalyptus, this is Eucalyptus cinerea, it's one I particularly like. I'm just looking for a nice tip that I can use to create the height. And I'll take that nice piece here, and then I'm just going to have quite a low design, clean the stems and put it in the centre of the foam. I then create the length, and the length can be as long or as short as you want, depending on the amount of flowers that you have available. And that comes out of the side of the foam very easily like this. And then you want the one on the other side to be approximately the same length, and I remove any leaves that would actually go into the foam. You don't want it to go into the foam because it breaks it up, and what we're trying to create now is a sort of skeleton or framework. I'm using a turntable, which is an IKEA product, absolutely wonderful. I don't think it was meant for flowers, I think it was meant for cakes, but I use it and I recommend to my students that they all get one. Only a few pounds or dollars. So I'm creating here an oval shape. If you see here, that's the shape I want to create. So I'm going to put it back to me and then take that. Try not to use just the tips of the eucalyptus, because that's a very expensive way of doing it. So there you are, you've got 3 stems and they're making this oval shape, and I'm going to now do exactly the same at the back. Once you've created the oval shape that is evenly distributed right through, and I've also got to be very careful that you angle stems down over the plastic container, because you really don't want to see that. I'm now going to add Galax leaves, but ivy leaves will work just as well, and I'm going to support the structure of the eucalyptus by adding these leaves. At this point, with the second leaf in place, you can see the foam, but it's not desperately obvious. It is at this point you can start adding your flowers. And I'm going to be using these lovely dendrobium orchids, and because they've got a linear form and they're good to take the colour and the flower out to the edges of the design. So now I'm just going to take these and place them, cut the orchids in 2 if need be, so that the colour goes through and out. Place the stems in firmly, you don't want them to drop out. So I'm going to take the one and I'm going to reinforce the length of it first, placing there and there. I'm going to just take that one out there, it's a little bit awkward, and place in there. So now I've re-established the length of the design, and I like to now place a stem, beautiful flowers, shape them if you want them to part, and now they'll be quite obliging. And I'm going to take that off there and use that stem, perhaps like that, and create flowers through the centre. I'm going to place my last rose and place it here. There, so you've got a lovely spray of roses and orchids. And for the final flower, I've got my round form, which gives focus, and I've got my linear form, which extends the colour to the edges. And then I'm going to use wax flower. This is wax flower, and cut that and put it into little bunches so that it's a little bit stronger, because it's a small flower in relation to the others. And I'm going to just scatter this through to soften, and just adding the finishing touches of the wax flower to your funeral piece. And that is how you would make a double-ended spray for the top of a coffin. But of course, it may be best to actually go to your florist and ask them to do you a professional one.